Good evening, welcome again this evening. Thank you for joining me. Yes, I'm Pastor David Khumalo from Salvation Through Christ Ministry STCM. So, tonight I want us to look into principles. Principles are very much important. What is a principle? Principles are the standards that one set without compromising them. So if there are standards that you set as a person, that these are the rules that I'm going to comply with, and I'm not going to compromise them. That is what the principle. So now it is important that we adhere to principles if you want to enjoy good results, if you want to see positive results in all our endeavors. So I'm encouraging you that you must be a principled person, a man of principle. You must not be a person who break principles. So you must adhere to the principles. So here I want to relate to a story in Luke chapter 14, verse 28. You can see there also that principles are applicable, are important also. So here, the word of God is saying, Jesus Christ was teaching here. He said in Luke 14 from verse 28, it is suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? Now, here you want to build a tower, then will you not sit down and count the cost to see if you will be able to complete to build the tower? So, here you can even tell that there are principles that you should not violate when you want to build a tower, meaning you must sit down, do a due diligence, do the calculation of the cost, do the calculation of the time frame, and you must also check how long is it going to take you, how much is it going to cost you. Will you be able to raise funds, to have enough funds in order to complete what you are building? So if you do not do that, you'll be violating principles of completing what you have started. So today I want to say to you, you have to be a disciplined person, a person who is principled. So if you have set yourself standards that you should not compromise, you will make it in all your endeavors. So now let me continue here. So you are sitting down, you want to build a tower. Firstly, you sit down, you estimate the cost to see if you have enough to complete. Sometimes as people, we find ourselves in very big problems, in troubles, because sometimes we violate some rules. Even though you take a decision, you decide just now or instantly and say you want to do something that will cost you more than what you have. You just find yourself already having started. Along the way, you then realize that no, you cannot finish what you have started because you have not sat down, and do a due diligence and do the cost calculating that are you going to have enough to complete what you are trying to build. So verse 29, he says, if he lays the foundation and is not able to finish, everyone who see it will ridicule him. They say now the problem will be this. Let's say you try to start doing something, you start with the foundation, then along the way you fail, you do not continue. The word of God saying everyone will start to ridicule you. People will now start laughing at you and say, this man started to build something, but now he cannot finish. So, meaning that you have failed. So they are going to mock you for that. So now here we are getting some advices, some tips that before you engaged into a big project, you must take time, have a good plan for it. Do risk management, assessment, everything. Must have all the information that you need in order to complete a task or a project. So you must do the workload breakdown for a project that you want to engage into. Then in that way, you'll be able to finish what you've started. Now, they will say this fellow began to build and was not able to what? To finish. Then he continues to make another example. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Will he not first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? So now he's making an example that, okay, you have 10,000 warriors, so you're going to fight maybe a king with 20,000 warriors. So will you be able to conquer the king? So he said the king will do what? Will sit down and check that whether he will be able to fight the battle and win. So there are a lot of things that we can learn even from here. Sometimes we find ourselves in problems. Problems, for example, we find ourselves maybe in financial problems. And if you can look back and check what went wrong, you'll find out that you did not do your calculations correctly. Somewhere, somehow, you just let it slide, or you just acted on impulse. So then you find yourself, now drowned, in problems, not being able to breathe even properly because you did not uh, do your cost and calculate everything properly as it's supposed to be. So what I'm trying to say today is that principles are very much important. If you break or you violate them, you will suffer the consequences. And if you can look closely or deeply or attentively into your situation right now and see why things are in this manner in your life, then you will realize that somewhere, somehow, you didn't do it right. So, sorry about that. So, what I'm trying to say is that it is important that you have to be disciplined, even when it comes to handling finance, even when it comes to distributing finance, even when it comes to administering finance or dealing with whatever budget that we have. You need to adhere to some certain uh, principles. You must be disciplined. But if you are not disciplined, you find yourself in a shallow grave. But there is hope, there is a second chance. You can turn things around. So, what I'm saying to you is that what you have done, you cannot change. But you can change what you can do in the future. Meaning, if maybe you have messed up, you have an opportunity to turn things around. What you need to do is to check thoroughly what went wrong. Where did I go wrong? And when you get all the facts that you are supposed to look into, you take that, you work it something out that will take you to your desired destiny or location. What I'm saying is this: when you go back and see what a mess you are in and why you are in that mess, and you look what did you do that you are not supposed to do, and what can you do so that things can be better, then you take that information, then you apply it now so that it will work for your future. Then it will work for your future. So I'm telling you, there's a chance, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is not over, it is not finished, we are not finished. It means that you are able to fly high. If you are heavily laden now, it does not mean that is the end of the world, but there is another chance of doing things the right way. There is another chance. Actually, what I can say to you, we need to learn from our mistakes, but we must not dwell on them. We must not dwell on the past. Know that we cannot change the past and it won't help us. So what is important is to have positive thinking and positive feeling about the future, because if we concentrate much on our failures, then it won't help us. But what we can do, we can learn from our failures, we can learn from our shortcomings, but we must not dwell on them because they won't do us any good. So what I'm saying to you is that if you can now focus on the goal, focus on what you want to achieve and work on it, and sit down and calculate all the cost, everything. How much is it going to cost you? How long is it going to take you? And then what is it that you need in order to make it a point that you finish what you are studying now? You will never go wrong. So planning is very much important, even when it comes to everything about our life, even if it comes to even improving our lives, even if it comes to moving to the next level of life. You need a good planning skill, and you need to adhere to some of the principles, because if you violate them, then you are putting yourself in jeopardy of not getting to where you want to be. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So we'll talk a lot about a lot of things in the future. So I just wanted to share shortly with you this Sunday evening that you need to sit down and calculate your things and estimate the cost to see if you have enough to complete your task, even when it comes to the spiritual things. If you want to grow spiritually, if you want to grow in understanding God, you need to sit down and check what is it that you need in order to grow spiritually, and what is it that you need in order to have more knowledge about God, in order to have more knowledge about uh, what God has created, even when it comes to your potential. If you want to know more about it, you need to take note of everything that you do. Then you start to see where do you actually excel or where do you struggle. And then if you there is an area that needs development in your part on your part of your life, then you will work on that area. If there's some weaknesses in your part on your part, then you start working on that and improving on that part where you find yourself weak. So thank you so much. And I believe that there are a lot of things that we are going to learn, me and you, that we are going to share. And I believe that you are also important. I am also important, because I benefit from you, you benefit from me. We do not have it all, but we have part of what the next person need. That's how God has made the things to be. So thank you so much for coming and joining me this evening. So please, please, please do not violate principles. If you can take an object and lift it up and then release it, it will drop on the ground. Why? Because the principles, the law of gravity, what will happen, the principle demands, or the principles demands that actually when you pick up something and raise it up, and release it. When you release it, you are breaking the principles of what? Of, I will say, the gravitational force will take we will take its part. What? Yeah, it will take its part. So, and let me put it also in this simple way, because so that maybe I put it in a way that is not clear. Is that if maybe you can jump, you will never remain on air, because the principles demand that you must be on the ground, because it is unlawful for you to be on air. So the law of gravity demands that you must be on the ground. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that.